So, do you ever feel like resources are limited? Do you feel like you're in competition for everything that you have? If that's the case, you may be stuck in scarcity mindset. There's a huge difference between a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset. Some might call it scarcity versus abundance mentality. Either way, it's the same thing. I'm here to tell you today a little more about the difference between the two and how you can shift more from scarcity to abundance. Let's dig in. First of all, just like always, I think we need to begin at the beginning. What is scarcity mindset and what is abundance mindset? I'm going to give you two stories to kind of give you a frame of reference. First, I want you to think about two friends. Let's call them friend A and friend B. And then there's you in the middle, right? So you get a new house. You're very excited about your new house. It's beautiful. It's exactly what you've always dreamed of. Friend A is super excited for you, wants you to succeed, wants to come over, help decorate the house, wants to be involved, is very, very excited. And then there's friend B. Friend B is jealous that you got a new house because friend B thinks that your house is now better than her house. It's newer or it's bigger or it's in a better location. I don't care why. But friend B doesn't like that you got a new house because friend B liked having the house that was the better house. Now friend B won't come to your house and is saying sassy remarks about it under their breath about, oh, nobody's going to want to drive up there to the mountains in the weather or whatever it is, right? Clearly they're jealous of your success. Now, friend A has abundance mentality and friend B has scarcity mentality. People with abundance mentality believe that resources are aplenty. There is limitless possibility, and your success doesn't hinder their success. Your ability to have things and create and be successful and have money and wonderful relationships in your life does not in any way limit their ability to have it. But friend B sees it the opposite way. Friend B sees resources as limited and sees your success as competition against their success. So, if this is the situation, who do you want to spend more time with? The friend who's excited for you, who wants to cheer you on, or the friend who's jealous of you? The answer is pretty clear for me. I would obviously want to hang out with friend A, who's going to be excited for me and who I can be excited for them too. Friend B is probably going to end up not being my friend after a while. The other way I'd like to kind of put it into context is thinking about your parents when you were growing up. Were you raised in scarcity mindset or abundance mindset? And I'm going to give you a really easy way to kind of see that. Now think about your parents. On an occasion that they didn't want to take you out to dinner at a certain restaurant, and maybe it legitimately is because they believed that they could not afford to go out to eat for that meal. Maybe it's because they prioritized other things. Maybe they're in between jobs, whatever the reason is. But think about your parents, okay? Now, you have been begging to go out to eat at this one restaurant. You're really excited about it. You really want to go. Mom, please take me to fill in the blank. And your mom says, no, honey, I'm sorry. We can't afford it. We're going to eat at home tonight. That's situation one. Now, situation two, your mom instead says, no, honey, I don't think we're going to go out to eat tonight. We're going to have food at home. Now, you get to the same resolution with both of those answers, except for one parent is putting it into a scarcity mindset sort of situation, saying, we don't have enough resources to take you out to eat. And if you hear this kind of programming over and over as you grow up, you are going to be stuck in a sort of scarcity mentality sort of situation. And that's what it was like for me growing up. We were middle class, but my parents were very concerned always about losing their money and needing to save up and needing to prepare for the future. So they did tell us those words all the time. No, we can't afford this. We can't afford that. We can't afford this. And I think for my brother and I, for a long time, we believed that we were trapped in this world of limited resources. And I can't speak for him, but I have certainly moved out of that. I think the first time that I heard about scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset was when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad when I was probably 20 years old. I was extremely inspired by that book, and it kind of is what led me into real estate investing and doing a whole bunch of other things. I think that it's a decent book. I do recommend it, and it's a lot about mindset shift. I don't know if the logistics of actual real estate investing that he lays out are really like what I would recommend. However, it is a good book about mindset. The basic summary of the book is that the author, Robert Kiyosaki, if you haven't heard about it before, he has two sort of mentor dads in his life. He has his biological father, who is his quote unquote poor dad, and then he has his friend's dad, who is his rich dad. Now, his poor dad has a traditional job and he's very worried about limited resources and keeping the money close, and he's kind of afraid of the world and afraid of taking risk. The rich dad, his friend's dad, has an abundance mentality, and he believes that resources are unlimited, we should take risks, and we should share, and our competitors can be our collaborators, sort of thing. So that is the gist of the book. And when I read it, it resonated so clearly with me. I could see very clearly what camp my parents had been in, what kind of mentality I had been raised to have, and what mentality I innately had, which is one of abundance. I do think that I am just a naturally very abundant person. And I'll give you another example. When I was in college, I was pregnant and I had my son 2 weeks after I graduated. I was a single mom on welfare pretty much right off the bat. And even though his father was sort of around and we had another child together, I pretty much stayed the sole provider for those children. Well, I mean, even now. I was on welfare, and now I have gotten myself to the point where I am doing pretty well. I am financially extremely stable. I have a lot of financial freedom. I'm living out my dreams. I have a wonderful home in the mountains, and I'm very happy. I get to travel whenever I want. And I think a large part of that is because even when I was on welfare, even when other people would have called me poor, I never thought of myself that way. I never pulled that single mom card like, oh, woe is me. Please help me. Please give me a discount. Please feed me scraps off your table. I never did that. I contributed with what I had. I often had to stay at my friends' houses because my living situation was very difficult. And I contributed what I had. For example, I would use my food stamps and I would cook for all of us. I would watch my friends' children. I would help to clean the house. I would drive people places. I gave what I had. I shared what I had because I had this abundance mentality. I very rarely went out to eat, but when I did, I was a good tipper because I believed that people should be compensated for their work. If a friend had a new business idea and they came out with some cool, I don't know, goat milk soap, instead of saying, "Can I have a free bar? I'm so poor," I would pay for that bar because I believed in supporting my friends. And it all kind of comes back to you in the end. So that's abundance mentality versus scarcity mentality in a nutshell. And why does it even matter? Why should it matter to you? Well, I think it should matter because it unlocks so many potentials for people. It increases your mental health and improves your mental health. It helps you to create and fulfill deeper and stronger relationships, unlocks so much potential, and so many more opportunities. So here I get to the meat of the video, and this is where I'm talking about what you can do to actually create a more abundant mentality within yourself, if that's something that doesn't innately come to you, which I think it doesn't for a lot of people. And I have 4 steps that I use, but at the end of the video, I will give you the one that I think is the most important, that I think that you should do first, because I think everything should be done incrementally. Change is not going to happen overnight. All of this should be taken slowly, and you should do things in baby steps. So there's one thing that I think you should do first, but there are 4 pieces, and I want you to go ahead and listen to all of them and choose what is most aligned with you and start to implement those in steps. So the first thing, and this is really important, is to practice gratitude. I've talked about this in my other videos, and I think that this actually needs to have a video in and of itself. It needs to be its own video, is practicing gratitude. When we practice gratitude, we put ourselves into a positive state of mind, and positivity putting out draws positivity back in. This is kind of a key tenet to manifesting, and we all want to be better at manifesting, right? So in practicing gratitude, you're focusing on what you have rather than what you lack. And if you're not really good at this and you don't normally do these kinds of things, that is okay. What I would suggest that you do to kind of get yourself into that sort of mentality, pick up a journal that resonates with you, something that's cute or pretty, or the color is just very vibrant or very you love it. Keep that journal beside your bed, and before you go to bed every single night, I want you to write down 3 things that you are grateful for. 3 things that either happened in your day or that you just have in your life and you're excited about. Those 3 things will kind of help you to be put into a nice calming mindset before you go to sleep. And we sleep for 8 hours out of every 24. That's 1/3 of our lives that we spend asleep. So the mindset that we put ourselves in before we go to bed, before we dream, is really important. Okay, and the second thing that I want you to do is I want you to practice celebrating other people's wins. And this might seem super simple, but it doesn't come naturally for everyone. When your friends have something that happens in their lives and they get excited about, celebrate them, cheer them on wholeheartedly. Don't think about how it affects your life because their wins almost like 99% of the time have nothing to do with you and nothing to do with your wins or your losses. And I want you to understand that their success has nothing to do with your success or your failure. Truly celebrate them. And the third thing that I want you to do is to share what you have. Share the resources that you have. Use the example from when I was a single mom, because resources do not have to be financial. At that time, my resources were my ability to take care of kids, my time, my ability to cook. Those were resources that I shared with my friends, and they were able to share back with me, and we were able to continue to grow together in our growth mindset and our abundance. And it was wonderful. So share the resources that you have. Share your expertise, share your knowledge, share your time, share your financial resources if that's what you have. Share your house. Another of my single mom friends at the time also did not have very much money, but she had a house and I was able to stay there and we were able to help each other. And through that, we were able to grow together. Growth mindset is huge, and you want to surround yourself by people who have it. So always, always share what you have. Your resources are valuable. I guarantee you have something of value to someone. And it's probably more than just one person. It's probably more than just one thing. Share the resources that you have, and they will come back to you tenfold. And my fourth tip is probably my most difficult if you're struggling with this, and that is to reframe negative thoughts. I want you to take every negative thought that you have, and I want you to reframe it in a positive way. Go ahead and pull out that journal that you have and write down that negative thought, and then think about the positive counter thought to it. Cross the negative one out and highlight or doodle around or do whatever with the positive one, and have that be the thing that you actually focus on. Instead of saying to yourself, I'll never get there, I'll never find that success, cross it out and say, this challenge will help me grow. That is a way to reframe that negative thought into a positive one. Another thing that you can do is you can journal affirmations. You can go ahead and create like a Pinterest board, and you can look up motivational quotes about whatever it is that you're doing, and you can look at that board every day. You can put motivational quotes on the backgrounds of your phone. There can be all kinds of things that you can do to sort of shift that mindset from the negative to the positive. There are a few common myths about abundance mentality, and the first one is that it has everything to do with money and nothing else, and we know that's not true. Just think about the things that I use, the example that I used just a minute ago about my single mom friends and how we would all come together, and it was a sort of shared economy. We had all these shared resources that we contributed to one another, and those were not about money. Those were about time. Those were about space. Those were about our children, and that sort of shared economy and the shared resources and understanding that it wasn't just about money was what really helped us grow. And I'd say we're all a lot more successful now than we were back then. Another myth that exists about abundance mentality is if I share my resources, there will not be enough left for me and mine. And that is just so untrue. Everything that you give, all of those seeds that you plant, all of the good that you put into the world, whether it's money or your career or your time or relationships or love, all of that you put out, it will grow infinitely. So I encourage you to take one small step today. I encourage you to help a friend or cheer them on. I encourage you to ask yourself this question, and go ahead and comment on it below if you have an answer at the ready. But I want you to ask yourself, what is one area in which I am willing to start thinking abundantly today? And what shift am I willing to start doing today? And I want you to journal that. I want you to journal that or comment it and share it. We're trying to create a supportive community of people with growth mindset lifting each other up. So if this video helped you in any way, I encourage you to comment and answer that question below. I encourage you to like and subscribe. And I want you to think about this. You already have more than you think you do. Start acting like it and watch as it grows. Thanks. Talk to you guys next time.